Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Staying Safe Online class today. A little bit different than what I normally do. It's a little bit easier to just talk about this stuff rather than show you exactly what to do. Wait just a second to let some people come and join us, and then we'll go ahead and get started. But today I'm going to be covering some basic online safety topics, what you can do to be a little bit safer online and what to avoid, as well as give you a really good resource to go and check out afterward to continue learning about how to stay safe online and how to beef up your online safety skills after today. As always, we'll keep this on our Facebook page and put it up on our YouTube as soon as possible. Okay, so getting started about staying safe online, the biggest thing is your passwords. I know everyone dislikes passwords because you have to have different ones for every account. You can never remember which ones go where, and you constantly have to reset them and come up with new ones. So I'm going to give you some tips about how to make secure ones and how to remember them and manage those passwords. Okay, so the best advice I can give you is to not make passwords, but rather make passphrases, which are unique, long, and strong. Often, we're told that your password must be really complex to be secure, but that's not always true. Something common is called substitution techniques, and that's when you replace things in a password to create a, quote, stronger password. So I have an example here. The password I love cats here is turned into I love cats, but with a whole bunch of different symbols and numbers. So the thought behind it is that because you're replacing all those letters with symbols, it'll be a whole lot stronger than before, but that's not necessarily true. The only person that makes it harder to guess what your password is you, unfortunately. So the reason behind that is because when you replace those letters with those different symbols, you might forget which letters you've replaced, which ones are capital, which ones are symbols, and so on, which just leads to frustration over what password is what. So instead of substituting all those different letters with different symbols, which might look strong, the better thing is to just make your password longer. So going off that same password, I love cats, I have two examples in that first line. I love cats 1989 exclamation point, and the same one but using that same substitution technique. Believe it or not, those passwords are just as strong as each other. They're both as secure, but that first password is going to be a lot easier to remember for you than the second one that uses all those different symbols. Now, some websites still require your password to use a couple different things, like one lowercase letter, one uppercase letter, one symbol, and one number. So just work those into your passphrase. And that first example here, that I love cats 1989 exclamation mark, would satisfy all those different requirements. And you can customize it yourself and use different words or phrases that are memorable to you. Avoid personal names like your name, your spouse's name, your children's name, addresses like your street address, and numbers like your birth date. Don't use those. Use something else instead. So I have two examples here. The first one is red queen gold crown and the @ symbol, and 3 fast horse, the and symbol, green dragon. Both of those are going to be extremely strong passwords, and they're also very easy to remember. There are a couple different internet companies that started using these for your internet Wi-Fi password. I know mine did that. It's just 2 words and a couple numbers. It's very easy to remember, but again, it's very secure. The substitution examples like this one only look secure, but it is a false sense of security because if a hacker is using something that is called a brute force method, where it's just guessing as many combinations as possible, it doesn't matter what those combinations are, they're going to get it. What matters most is the longer it is. So every character, so letter, number, or symbol, increases the time that it would take for them to hack into your account. All right, so we covered how to make a good password, and now this is how to keep those passwords secure. Avoid reusing passwords or similar passwords as much as you possibly can. I know it can be frustrating to remember which passwords go where, but luckily you can reset passwords in most cases, and things like your email that you might log into quite frequently, you'll remember those. Using the same or a similar password, so if you use the same phrase but maybe a different number, for multiple accounts increases your risk. If they guess one password, they could then potentially guess a lot more of yours. Something you can do, a lot of people I know write them down. That is risky. If you lose that, then whoever finds it, if they want, has access to all of your passwords written down. But you can use a password manager like LastPass or 1Password. And some smartphones and tablets even have password managers built in. I know iPhones do. It'll ask you if you want to save the password. And then you just have that one password to keep all of your unique different passwords safe. And another thing iPhones do, and I'm sure Androids do something similar, is it will even suggest a super strong password that is randomly generated, and it will create that for you and then save it in your password manager on your phone, so you always have your passwords as long as you remember the one master password. More tips is you should never, ever reuse a passphrase or password that is used on any account that has sensitive or personal information. So that includes banking websites, tax prep websites, student loan lenders, mortgage lenders, utility payment websites, and so on. The best thing is to never reuse a password, but if you do, always, always, always make sure to use unique passwords for all of these different things. Especially because, again, if you use an easy password for social media and your email, and you reuse that same password for things with very sensitive information, they have access to that now and could get into that account as well. So never reuse those passwords. And another tip on here that I will cover later is to never share your password with other people. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Last thing about passwords that I'll talk about is something called two-factor authentication. It's a more secure way to log into an account, and I like to think about it like using a deadbolt and a doorknob lock on your front door. One is good, but 2 different ways is better. And here is a neat little graphic to help explain that concept. So two-factor authentication is a security system that uses 2 different things. So it's something you know, which would be your password, and it uses either something you have or something you are. And so the something you have might be your smartphone, would get a code texted to it, where then you verify that, yes, this is me trying to access this account, and it'll let you in. Something you are could be, here they give an example of a fingerprint. Not a lot of things are using that right now, but that is one option, definitely. So a lot of secure things like banking websites require two-factor authentication in a lot of instances. So you type in your password and then they say, okay, well, we're going to email you, text your phone, or call your phone and give you a code to verify that, yes, it is you, and not somebody just trying to get into your account. It can be a little bit of a hassle, but it is much more secure than just relying on a password. Okay. So we covered passwords, which is kind of your first defense against everything. And now we're going to move on to sharing, which will help keep you safe online as well. So the first step is to never share any financial information unless it's a trusted source. So this includes things like online shopping, online banking, anything that you would add a bank account number or a credit card number to. Make sure that it is a HTTPS secure website. Oftentimes, trusted websites that end in .gov or .edu will also have the secure HTTPS. And down here I have two different examples. This is a screenshot from Wells Fargo showing you two different presentations of it. So this one here has a little lock, and you can see HTTPS. And over here, the lock is there, and then it has HTTPS. And so the S stands for secure. So it's great to see that all the time. Not every website's going to have it, and that doesn't mean it's a bad website. But if you are doing any online shopping or banking or anything that uses very personal information, like your credit card number, bank account, social security number, make sure that it is a secure website that either has that lock, HTTPS, or both. Another different thing about sharing is don't share vacation plans on social media. Obviously, you can tell things like a neighbor or a trusted neighbor or a family member that you're going out of town to keep an eye on your house. But if you post online heading to Florida for 2 weeks, could be just as dangerous as putting a sign in your window that says, hey, we're gone for 2 weeks, because you never know who will see it. Even if you're friends with just your family and friends, you never know who will see that post, and you don't want them to know that you're going to be out of town for a long time. And in addition to that, always wait until you get back to post pictures, because again, if people who are following you see that you're out of the state, know you're not going to be back for a while, they can do something bad. And so that's one thing where staying safe online impacts the real world as well. Next up is to never share your passwords for online accounts. Employees from a business will never ask for your password through email, so don't fall for that trap. If you get an email from a social media website or Google or somewhere else that says, hey, we need you to email us your password for your account, just ignore it. They would never ask you to do that. And always remember, giving someone your password is the exact same as giving someone ownership of your account, because if they have access with your password, they can get right in. As always, there are exceptions, including spouses, other family members, or people you know you can trust. If you need them to log into an account for you, you can certainly share your password if you trust them. I would also recommend then changing that after they're done using it, just in case. And always be sure to uncheck the save password box on any shared computers, because you don't want your password to accidentally get saved on a computer that someone else will log into. All right, the next topic I'm going to talk about is downloads. So this is a topic where you can get a lot of different viruses and malware that can hurt your computer, phone, or tablet. So downloads are the easiest place for viruses and malicious software to hide. Downloads can be sent in emails, posted on a website that isn't the official website. These downloads can look very legitimate, but aren't always safe. So you always want to make sure that the download is from the actual website and not from a scam website. And a way to do that is if you get an email from, I don't know, like there's a Java program, and it says, hey, your Java program is out of date, click this download. Instead of just clicking that in the email, go to the Java website and download it from there. And that works with anything. It could be from Microsoft or Apple or anywhere. Always go type in the official website and get it from there instead of from an email. Never download an attachment from a source you don't know. If your cousin from Ohio sends you an email and says, hey, download these pictures of my family and me on vacation, that's something you can definitely download. But if you don't have a cousin from Ohio, someone claims to be that person, don't download those files, just delete the email. It's kind of a funny example, but it also goes to don't download any attachments or click on links in emails from people you don't know or that you weren't expecting. So if you weren't expecting them to send you something to download, reach out to them in person or over the phone and make sure that they were sending you that. And that could be someone from work, someone in your personal life. And I even had it from family members where their accounts were hacked and someone claiming to be them sent a suspicious email. And so I was able to call them and let them know about that. All right, our next topic is all about software. So the easiest way to keep your computer safe is always updating your software. Most computers have an automatic update function that you can turn on, so it will just automatically stay updated to all the different software. Same thing with most internet browsers that also have a function to update automatically. This is important because updated software is secure software. So when there's a vulnerability found in software, developers can create a fix, often called a patch, quickly, and then put it in an update. So this patch allows your software to remain secure. So if you don't update your software, you can be at risk. Again, most computers will just update automatically, but it's worth it to go in and make sure that your computer is updating automatically. And you can do that with your phone or tablet as well. Same thing with web browsers. A lot of them will need to be updated, but a lot of them do have automatic updates. But first, make sure you're using a secure browser like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Microsoft Edge. Internet Explorer was a very popular browser for a long time, but it has now been phased out and has stopped receiving updates. So that makes it less secure. So make sure to switch to a different browser if you're still using Internet Explorer. All right, so this will be our last section, and it's all about phishing and other scams. So phishing, spelled with a PH, is one of the most common scams and one of the easiest to prevent. A phishing scam is very simple. Hackers claim to be from a reputable source or someone you know. They state that they need your password, your credit card number, or something, some other information, and then they wait for you to just give it to them. But don't do it. Don't respond to those emails. Ways to stop a phishing scam. Their email might look professional, but the return address isn't right. The email asks for your account information. Most companies will never ask for your account information or password through an email. They'll tell you maybe to check your account, but they'll never specifically ask for that information. Or they might tell you to call a strange-looking phone number. And as a rule, never use a phone number or link from an email. It could be the real one, but it could also be fake. Again, the best way is to go to the actual company website and find the phone number there. Couple more ways to spot these scams. The email says there's something wrong with your account and you must verify the information right away. Again, most companies would never have you verify your account information through email. They would tell you to log into your account and check the messages in there. Oftentimes these emails will have spelling or grammatical errors. The email has a generic greeting like "Dear Customer" or "Hello, Madam." And a big one is that the email is forceful and creates a sense of urgency. So it's telling you to do something right now, and it makes you just do it without thinking. But you really do need to stop and think. So let's go over a couple different examples. So this is one example I found online, and it looks like a FedEx notification. It looks very official. They have what appears to be, here, let me point out, the actual FedEx logo here, but it isn't quite the logo, but it has all the purple buttons and stuff like that. It says FedEx International. It looks really good, but there are a couple things wrong with it. The biggest one with things like FedEx is if you're not expecting a package, they won't email you about the package. So that's one easy way to discount this. Another one is to look up here at the sender. If this really was FedEx, that email would say something like FedEx, FedEx International, FedEx Customer Support, something official like that. But it is markcourt.com, which is not from FedEx. Again, they're being very vague. We have sent you a message with required information, and then they want you to click on this link here. But again, don't do that. And especially if you're not expecting anything from FedEx, that would be your biggest tip-off with this one. Here's another example I grabbed online, pretending to be an account from Apple. And this one, the person actually numbered and kind of highlighted the areas that I'm going to go over. So number one up here, it says it's from Apple Inc., but the email is from altervista.org, which is not where Apple would email you from. Here at number two, Dear iTunes Customer, is that vague greeting. Your iTunes, the T isn't capitalized. That's that grammatical errors I mentioned. Here's a link they want you to click on. Here they say Apple page and have two different periods, which again is that grammatical error. The signature is from Apple Inc., which again isn't a personal signature. Up here, they have an iTunes logo, which looks like the Apple logo, but isn't. And the seventh one they have highlighted is an address, which actually isn't the Apple Corporation address. So there's a lot of things wrong with this. It's very vague. There are misspellings. It doesn't name you personally. And a big thing they don't have here is that they want to validate your information, and your account suspension will be lifted. So again, they're creating that sense of urgency. Your account suspended, you have to take this action right away. So this would just be another one I would delete right away. All right, and here's my last example, and this is actually one that I got. I save these emails to put in here, and I update it every so often. I actually probably have a more recent one than this that I just didn't update, but this is one that I actually got. It says it's an invoice from Apple. I never purchased this game, and what they're trying to do is, if you don't authorize this, visit this payment cancellation. I didn't click on the link, but I'm assuming they would ask for my credit card information, and that's what they're after. So a couple things wrong with this is, one, I didn't purchase this specific app from the App Store, so I know that it wasn't me. I went and checked on my phone, and yep, I have no record of this purchase on my phone and nothing in my bank account to say that I purchased it. So there's no need to cancel the purchase. Again, with this one, it says it's from Apple, and it might be a little bit hard to see on this one. The email is just complete gibberish. It's a bunch of random letters. So I knew right away, this is not from the Apple Corporation. I can just ignore this and delete it and not click on any of these links. So those are a couple of those phishing scams and how to kind of identify them. The biggest one is if it looks suspicious or seems too good to be true, just ignore it. All right, so let's wrap up with what you can do to stay safe online. So these are kind of my final top tips for you to keep in mind. Never share personal information to an untrusted source. Don't overshare about travel habits. Create strong passphrases and never share them. Use different unique passphrases for websites, especially ones with sensitive information. Never save a passphrase on a public computer. And keep your software up to date. Couple more. Never give account information or financial information through an email. If they're asking for that, make sure to log into the legitimate account. If you're unsure of the legitimacy of an email, take the time to verify it, especially if it's being forceful. Take the time to pause and think critically about it. If it looks like a scam, it probably is. Again, look into it a little bit more and don't fall for it. And always, the best defense against online attacks is a smart user. So the smarter you are with how to identify this and how to stay secure, the better off you will be. All right, and one last bonus slide for some more learning. I got some of my information for this class from this website. And we do have a link on our website to the GCF Global Online Learning website in our interesting links section. But I just wanted to highlight this because they do a really, really good job on all sorts of classes, but they do have an internet safety one. And so here is that address. I will paste this into the description of the video or comment it below. So you can visit it right away. This is what the class overview looks like over here. And then on the right side, this is what the classes look like. It's online, it's completely free and self-paced. They use a mix of words as well as videos and images. And they just do a really good job. So I highly recommend checking them out. Like I said, I used this class to help make my class here. So I hope you learned something. I hope you stay safe online. And like I said, I will comment this below so you can go and visit that right away. As always, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.